Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner, Classic, Non-Classics. This is episode number 2746 and episode number 2640. Got two Star Wars trades, dealing with the Dark Droids crossover. With these two trades, review once finished with these two. There's going to be one more left, that's Dr. Aphra, which I think I may review the second trade for. I have to check it later. So first up we have is Star Wars Darth Vader, Volume 3, Issues 37 to 41. Yeah, this is the Dark Droids tie-in issues for this particular book. So, what does Darth Vader do during the course of this story? Well, he fends off robot assassins from the Grand Vizier, who were sent to him to basically via Mustafar. And then you might be thinking, wait a minute, is that a battle droid from the prequel trilogy? Yes. Greg Pak decided to have it where somehow, someway, the Empire had more of these things. Like, they apparently had them in storage, which is kind of weird. I'm not really sure where they had them. They even had the Great Battle Droids versus the Attack of the Clones, which I think the Trade Federation came with these things. These ones here, I'm not sure which one of these separatists basically had this particular one seen on the cover. Could have been Trade Federation. I don't know, honestly, because they actually switched up their for the super battle droids, as they're called. And he spends a lot of book fighting the possessed version of these things, and of course dealing with stuff with the Grand Vizier, a little with the Emperor, and by the end of this, basically, like, okay, so at one point they're doing the Executor, and then of course we deal with like the Vice Administrator. Of course they prepare for something else, and we have this group who's going to. So apparently, after the events of this story, the Empire is divided for some reason because it relates to the Emperor and Vader. But this book, really, really good. I give this book a 10 out of 10. Yeah, Greg Pak does a great job with this thing with Rafael Iniko on the interior artwork. The cover art for these issues is mostly done by Leno Francis Yu, who does it with Sunday Go to 3738. And the remaining issues is Ramel Fajaro Jr. Great book. Next up we have is Bounty Hunters Volume 7, the final trade that collect issues from the series. Unless, of course, Marvel wants to relaunch this book like they have Dr. Aphra. I haven't heard anything, per se. So, written by Ethan Stacks, this collects issues 37 to 42 of this series. And these are the final issues ever released for Bounty Hunters. Yep, because after the events of Dark Droids, this book ended. And so did Dr. Aphra, believe it or not. Yes, Marvel ended both those two books, so basically reducing Marvel's series count for Star Wars down from about 5 ongoing to basically like 3. Because you got Vader, you got Star Wars, and the book no one wants, High Republic. So, mostly put what happens over the course of these 8 frickin' issues. Yes, 8. Yes, Boba Fett's in here too. So here's what happens. We have Las Medina on the artwork for issues 37 to 46. 37 to 41 is Davatino. Halo Mortis does basically the main story. The coda is done by Paolo Bernino. So, the first issue is called Target Fett. So we have more Bounty Hunter characters in here. There's reference here to issue 26 of the book. Basically, the whole issue is basically these bounty hunters going after, well, Boba Fett. And in this page here we have Zagus, Forlam, and Bosk, and Valance. Now, Bosk, Zagus, and Forlam did appear in Empire Strikes Back, while in the case of Vance, he basically, well, he's a cyborg who was introduced in the original Star Wars comic book back in the 70s that he started bringing here. So, pretty much the whole thing is going to find him. And the Millennium, and you think that's the Millennium Falcon, but look at appearance, that's not technically the Millennium Falcon, that's a different ship. It's not a Corellian ship. So basically, we have various bounty hunters going after him throughout this issue. We even see something we don't really see very much. Here's something you might be surprised to see. Boba Fett without his helmet on. Yes, and for some reason, the artist has had the color of the guy black. I don't really know why. You could say, oh, maybe it's for the Jango Fett actor who play Boba Fett in Book of Boba Fett. That's possible, but here's kind of the thing with the original trilogy when it comes to Boba Fett. He never took his helmet off. Never did. His helmet remained on the whole time. This is by far first time ever that his helmet's ever been removed. And then right back on. Of course, he works there, Bounty Hunters 2. And the first couple issues is basically like... So apparently it's revealed that apparently he's a friend, that Valent's friend of Han's. Yeah, the first couple issues not really much to do with Dark Droids. My only guess is they threw in these 2 issues in here because, well, they probably were thinking, oh, just do Dark Droids. Wait, we have these 2 issues here not collected yet. Which begs the question, when were they collecting the last trade? I have no idea. It's quite weird. So, Vader escapes, and then we go to a multi-hardness Path of Righteous. Or basically Slave 1. We flash back to Jango Fett. Yes, Jango Fett. The man with a nice armor than his son Boba. Where apparently he's not illegal. He basically a good Camino. Apparently because they're like outsiders, so. The whole thing is like a whole big flashback to, like, presumably, like, and then we cut back to present day. The flashback is probably set just prior to the events of the Clone Wars because Jango died at the start of the Clone Wars. And then we see the enemy of balance pop up in these issues. And then we have another flashback where we see General Grievous and his bodyguards. Yes. General Grievous, if you're... Now, here's the thing. Those of you might be thinking that the first anyone that saw the sky was Revenge of the Sith. That is not exactly true. That was first in live action was seen, yes. His first actual appearance was in the original Star Wars The Clone Wars series that the Disney decided to deem not canon to current continuity. But that's where he first showed up. And you might think, okay, what about his appearance in Star Wars The Clone Wars? Chronologically, they're set before Revenge of the Sith, but yeah, the first Clone Wars series, the ones that were basically shorts, that was basically his debut. That was also the debut of Slash Ventrance, and also, this is also the series where Anakin got his scar on his eye when he grew his hair out. So you agree with his lightsabers, and of course you have this old enemy of his, not him. And we do the whole thing with balance here. And flashback with General Grievous, and you're probably thinking, like, people would claim to be like, oh, love of his, who he just kills. And then, like, the finale of this basically kind of in a way leads in. We have Valance being brainwashed, and this kind of in a way leads into the events of the Dark Droid story. You think, like, at the start of this, he was like nothing to do with Dark Droids. And kind of in a way, yes, that's kind of true. Because you read these issues, like, there's no possession here anyways. There's also reference here to, like, an earlier trade, like 1819, where Purge of like a project. And we have Vader show up here. And of course Free Valance. And then finally in Private Path Versus Part 5, this is the issue that has to deal with the whole thing with the story. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was, oh yeah, Balance is possessed. It took like 4 parts to finally do that. Either Ethan Stacks probably didn't want to do it per se. Also, here's something quite interesting though. It's revealed here. Apparently, the last thing he remembers is Da Vinci issue 17. So basically, for 14 trade issues, he doesn't remember anything. So, did this thing that briefly possessed him, did that wipe his memory? So, he ran into his crew, and we deal with some aftermath stuff with Dark Droids, and then the final issue is him fighting the robot from earlier, and of course you have Jabba the Hutt here too, and basically he's a Dogga. He just punches and knocks on the ground, slices off, takes an axe, slices off, take out some guards. And he's like, you here for Solo? You ready to do your part, Chewbacca? Yeah. And good on basically Ethan Stacks for not having Valance take Han Solo at this point, because Valance knows that's Chewbacca's job, not his. And probably also this is basically Ethan Stacks telling the audience, no, I'm not going to alter the continuity of Revenge of Return of the Jedi. We're going to keep it as we can have him see it there, but we're not going to have him do anything about it. And you want Secret Droid. And some fighting Boba Fett here. And then for some reason taken to the racetrack scene from the Mos Espa Grand Arena. Yeah, the very racetrack scene in episode 1. I like that. That's interesting. Actually, it's just an arena he's in. He fights giant robots. We have sand speeders. Yes, sand speeders. Look like the same ones used in Return of the Jedi. And then we have, kind of in a way, where we have, in the case of Luke, Leia, and Chewbacca, from the attire, it looks like it kind of leads into the events of Return of the Jedi. It's not specific per se. And we kind of wrap the series up here. Go across the galaxy, and that's the book itself. Overall, really good book. And good on Ethan Sachs for not interviewing continuity. Like, you can acknowledge the fact that he's there. And, I mean, it's kind of the same thing what happened with Charles Show's Star Wars. Where you had Lando see him there, but he probably thinking that maybe he's taking that moment, but he can't. It's not because there's a crisis going on. By the way, I give this book roughly a 10 out of 10. It is because Charles Shaw is telling the reader, no, not yet. That whole thing of rescuing Han, that's safe for the movie, which has happened. So, I would probably say that as of right now, you look at the current Star Wars books, they're basically getting very, very close to Return of the Jedi at this point. Despite the fact that this line of books is publishing now for 4 years, for almost 4 years now, and only now we're getting close to that finish line. Yeah, we're getting that freaking close. But in the case of the Mountaineer series, this book is absolutely amazing, and I do recommend checking it out. It is that good, and it was definitely a series that anybody could agree was necessary, because we're going to fill in the time gap between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So of course you have Mountaineers, but because Mountaineers were introduced for Empire Strikes Back, so of course we had to have Empire Strikes Back book. Another reason, The Mandalorian. Yep, The Mandalorian. But yeah, that's going to be pretty much a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do into this like button. Next, of course, is Demon Slayer. Yep. And probably in our comment corner. Okay? Next video. Bye.